Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some updates. Donald Trump perhaps feeling the pressure today due to some happenings in the markets, saying the war is very complete. Those are the words he used, very complete. I've said it was going to be a short war for really since it started, and so hopefully that ends up coming to fruition. Sounds more like talking from Trump kind of premature at this point. I think he's spooked by the markets, but I also think it's good rhetoric because we don't want this war going on a long period. I mean, if he's already talking about it ending, if you believe this, you were as ignorant as it get. I mean, but you're the same people that say it's going to last 3 years, and it's just not. So you'll be wrong, and then what happens then? Yeah, I don't know where Vance is. Honestly, I'm not sure. No, there's not going to be a draft. We can't let markets dictate how we fight our wars. Well, I mean, I think it depends on if they have any contingency plans, like for the oil, which I think they did, but I think JD Vance has been sidelined a little bit by the administration. But you have to understand, as the VP, you really don't do much anyways. So there's not much that he does. We are selling oil to other countries. Who cares about the oil in Iran? Well, the oil in Iran matters because if there's a disruption, well, the war is not about the oil in Iran. But if there's disruption, I mean the large amount of the oil goes through Iran. It's a global market, so it's going to spike the price. But the justification for the war is not oil. You haven't admitted that other countries don't pay tariffs. You don't even know my channel. You don't even know my commentary on tariffs if that's what you say. Do you think Rubio is more popular than Vance at the moment since he's been radio silent from? Yeah, that's what I was talking about in a video on Saturday about Rubio being better than Vance in terms of at least being able to be involved more. I mean, as Secretary of State, you're going to have probably more of the rewards and less of the blame than the VP. The VP really can't do much. They've got Vance doing something now with they've got Vance I don't know, something with fraud. But I mean, what can really be accomplished with fraud? I don't know. Culver's is very good. I do like Culver's. Culver's is good, but it just takes forever for them to make the food. That's the problem with Culver's. Did the Dow immediately rebound after the remarks? Gas is up at least $1. No, gas is going to be up for a little bit at least for sure. I mean, because it's going to have to end, and then we were used to like 56, $57, barrels of crude oil, and now it's at 90 or 100 still. But I mean, it's gone back down significantly from the spike. There was no way it was going to sustain at 115 or whatever. It's just not realistic. I mean, it's just because Trump now has said, well, it's over. He's trying to calm the markets. It's more like fast casual than fast food. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just if it takes like 10 minutes, it becomes a bit of an issue, I think, if you're sitting in a car for 10 minutes, because sometimes it does take a while. That's the thing. JD Vance is attending dignified transfer to the return of the seventh American hero. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I don't know. I can't give you count. I can't. I don't know. You'd have to ask her something that's like a neutral thing. I'd say, just ask her something that you know she'll talk about in a non-threatening way. That's what I would say. Scott Ritter's a clown. He's been debunked 100 times. He's like a boomer conspiracy's wet dream. Scott Ritter. Mexico versus USA. USA should win that. Mexico doesn't have a talented roster. To me, it's only not even Japan. I mean, the US should beat Japan. Seriously, if you look at the roster talent, Dominican Republic, USA, Japan, that's basically it. You go into the World Baseball Classic game. It's at Minute Maid Park then. Huh. Yeah, they do play games at Minute Maid. He's been on Dave Smith a few times. It's like the same person. So it would work with that boomer slap. That's a match made in heaven. That's true. That's like the same person. It's the Greater Israel project. Well, I mean, what land has Israel really gotten? If this is all a Greater Israel project that started in the '90s, I don't really see the land that they've captured. Honestly, I mean, how is their country still smaller than New Jersey if they're trying to form Greater Israel? That seems like fear mongering to say that. Honestly, it just doesn't seem like it's coming to fruition at this point. I'd look good with a low taper fade. I doubt it. It's not. It's not a good hairstyle for me. Yeah, working at McDonald's is brutal, man. Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, that ball was punted, bro. That ball was yeeted. Holy. That ball was annihilated. That thing almost actually hit the scoreboard. It went to the back of the second. That was a long shot. Dude, you're a conspiracy ridden boomer, Edward. I can tell from here. I can smell it. You got to go back and listen to Scott Ritter. He'll tell you what's happening. I know. He's going to tell us if we just listen to him. We're going to be in the know then. We're going to know everything. We're going to have the five dimensional. Well, I don't know what they're going to do with the regime change. I mean, if Trump is talking about the war ending, you have to wonder what that is. Yeah, is it because of the markets? Is he trying to calm the markets? Is it's just like this war has just been a just end this thing. I mean, I don't know. They've destroyed a bunch of Iranian shit. They can say that, I guess. I don't know. There will be no regime change. Yeah, if they want regime change, they're gonna have to continue the war for months and really pummel Iran to the point, and then maybe still need ground troops. So I guess probably need ground troops unless it's Israel's troops. I've seen enough AI videos, man. I see AI videos all the time now. I mean, there are a few of them that are funny, like the TDS Center. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I think it'd probably be ground troops from Israel because they're a lot more into this than we are in terms of wanting it. Uh, no, there's no actual footage. Trump never went to the Epstein Island, man. I mean, you can debate his involvement, but he never actually went to the island. I just hope it ends relatively soon, whatever happens. I mean, nobody wants a Middle Eastern war in 2026, man. Nobody wants this. They try and chill it, and because they have to, but it's like, fuck this. So, I mean, this is great news if it's actually going to be coming to an end. I just don't know if Trump would really. I mean, they can say they didn't lose because they killed a bunch of their regime. They killed a bunch of the Iranian regime, and they're all top leaders. Do you think this is going to hurt Trump in the midterms? It all depends the timeline of when this ends and what comes of it and the investment and things like. There's a lot of stuff that I think is going to happen between now and then, and now in November. Um, but it depends. I mean, because it permeates into the markets domestically, so then it becomes a bigger problem. I mean, if it affects the economy, it's gonna 100% affect the midterms. Yes, I can't really help and say anything there. I mean, that's why I think he's trying to slow the problems with these statements. He's trying to say it's ending. What happens to unconditional surrender? You'd have to ask Trump. I mean, what do you want me to say? I don't know. He's the one that said it, not me. He doesn't want the markets to tank or some shit. I don't know. DHS shutdown. I heard about that. That's horrible. Imagine you're traveling. The lines were out to the frickin' parking garage. If you're traveling, oh, airports have got to be. I'm surprised they haven't been able to do a better job with airports and air travel. Maybe they have. I actually haven't been to an airport in a while. Huh. Yeah, I haven't been to an airport in a while, so it's been years. So maybe airports got better. When I used to go to airports, it was always just a huge fiasco. There's 50 different lines you have to wait in. They said Christy Nome made it better or something. I don't know. No matter what, you are right though. If you're gonna do it, you have to finish it. Yeah, I agree 100%. But what does that mean? What does that entail? Finishing it, that means regime change. See, I don't know if that's really something that can be done in a way that's going to really appeal to anyone. Honestly, like because regime change entails probably significant involvement. I mean, I know you said Trump is being blackmailed into this, but genuinely think he's just trying to be as historic as possible. Yeah, I mean, who knows if he's being blackmailed? We can speculate on that or not. Um, I agree with you to a degree. He definitely wants to reshape. He definitely wants to reshape America's standing in the world, 100%. Mad Frog, I appreciate it, man. I don't think it's going to be reading it. Iran will most likely want security guarantees to prevent from being attacked next year. China and Russia may need to get involved in peace deal. Yeah, think about. We'll see how that gets negotiated if they're even there. I don't think they're there yet, honestly, man. I don't think they're going to be. I think Trump honestly said this probably because the markets were tanked and he wanted to calm everyone. Because Trump's rhetoric was completely different yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. That's why we were kind of wary that this was going to go on for a while or people were scared about it. So I don't know if they're actually at the point where they can talk some type of peace deal. I don't even know what that would look like because they seemingly wanted regime change one day and now they're saying it's about to be done. I mean, I guess they've destroyed a bunch of shit in Iran. That's about all I can say. If they want to try and claim victory, they eliminated the Ayatollah, but the regime lives on at this point, and it's just going to sow in more animosity against the United States. So I don't know. I mean, that's the thing with these Middle East wars. They just like the juice is not worth the squeeze. They're a bunch of trolls. I don't know. I think a lot of these people are just further right wing. They don't like Trump. They don't like Israel. I don't know if I'd call them trolls. I mean, if they're liberal trolls, that's one thing. I don't think anyone's really liberal in the chat, honestly. You see the dickhead MLB prospect with all the bling. He's dropped a ton of flat. No, I haven't. I haven't been watching any spring training. Max Clark. Oh, on Detroit. Yeah, he's like a top 10 prospect. Mike Evans going to the Niners. I think Mike Evans is washed. I would not sign Mike Evans. I would avoid that. I don't know why they signed him to a 3-year deal. I've seen that some of the highlights of the World Baseball Classic for Team USA. That's about it. I haven't really watched the games. I think he means war is done in terms of Iran having the ability to fight back. Now regime change itself is a whole nother can of worms. I mean, they can still fight back, though. That's the thing. Maybe not to the same effectiveness, but and this is where it gets worse. I mean, because you can do all the bombing and stuff, but if they try and do this nation building, it's just not going to work. It's just not worth it. Skeens, yeah, he's a beast. Paul Skeens. Didn't Iran say they're using their biggest rockets tonight? I mean, what do they have left at this point? Have you seen what they've launched over the past few weeks and how it goes way down? They're launching like a 20th of the capacity that they had when they started. So I don't know what they have left. Maybe they have something in reserve that they're pulling out that they have to be okayed to use. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe they'll get it from China. But do you trust Trump on the war ending soon? Well, it's hard to trust him just because he's been really wishy-washy. But, I think he knows that you can't have a prolonged Middle Eastern war. It would be catastrophic. He has to know that. So I would say yes. I think we know it's going to end soon. Thoughts on Nick telling his followers to vote left? Yeah, it's just he just wants accelerationism. But he's already rich. What does he have to lose, really? He's insulated from anything that happens, so he wants accelerationism. He wants the country to turn into a leftist shithole and then everyone to anoint him as the savior because he wants to be the ultimate leader. Joe Coin. I like Joe Coin. I don't have any of it, though. I'm waiting for the markets to continue to retrace. That's why people shouldn't listen to celebrities on politics. They have money already. Yeah, it's a lot easy to say we can take, 4 years or 8 years of liberal leadership or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on the economy. I mean, the problem with liberals is just they're getting really aggressive on taxation with that, and obviously immigration, which eventually will hurt. But I agree. I think a lot of these celebrities that have millions of dollars, it's a lot easier to say stuff when you have your. I mean, basically it's just insulation. When you're rich, it's insulation. It's harder to really do anything to somebody when they're rich, and you can say whatever you want basically. And I mean, what is really the cost? You're already wealthy. Can Nick be trusted nowadays? Is he a grifter? Well, I mean, I think what he wants is very clear. He wants the country to turn into a leftist shithole, and so he can be in the savior and come in and save it, or his movement comes in and saves it. That's what he believes at this point. So that's just what I see. How are gas prices for you now? I don't know. I haven't checked. They went up a lot, like a notable amount. I'll say that, like overnight, almost, really fast. And we'll see what happens. I mean, because they've been so volatile over the past few days. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. There's normally a lag when they refill the reserves in the tanks, but yeah, it'll keep going up. I mean, it's unfortunate because we had such a great situation with energy, and it seems like we've completely lost it now. Unless Trump says it's done, then maybe it'll go back and we can recover. But until he says, it's actually over. I mean, crude oil is going to be higher. It just is. Whenever there's a Middle Eastern conflict or there's speculation of a conflict, it's going to hurt the oil prices. Hey, Penn, you know what's a great example of that type of thing. Look at some of the cities, the smaller towns that are like 99% white in Massachusetts. Look at the way they vote. And that's what liberals always retort to. They say, well, all the towns in Massachusetts are the most scholarly out of anywhere. And the reason they're the most scholarly is because they're liberal. No, they're 99% white. And those people vote liberal. I mean, they're voting against their own subconscious in where they live. It's actually a very interesting case study. You look at some of those towns in Massachusetts. It really is. Kansas Owens. I don't think Kansas Owens can really be taken seriously. I mean, she was a really good friend of Charlie Kirk. I will say that, but she's kind of lost it. She got the fame from after.
At Alexis tip $5 through Super Chat. Does Nick not understand that voting left will ampo millions more immigrants, to the point that Caucasians are outnumbered and can't take back US?
Well, their theory is that you really don't need 50% or 40% or even 20%. You just need like a small amount to really take back the country in a different type of way, not voting, but I think they think that you really don't need that, or maybe they think there's a coalition with white Hispanics or something. It's something like that. %40 of voters in Massachusetts voted Trump. Yeah, but there's a lot of really high end, very high end liberal cities in Massachusetts that are like 95% white. Massachusetts is like the number one state in terms of IQ in the country. Um, it's like top two or top three, or it might be first. It is like an Aussie. It's like a Australian woman. New Hampshire, yeah, New Hampshire is really. New Hampshire is an interesting state. It's a lot of independent people in New Hampshire. It's a very small state, but I guess Massachusetts is also small. Did you see Tucker implying that the people of Iran surrounded U.S. soldiers, raping their wives and children? I didn't see what Tucker Carlson said about that. Yeah, all those northeastern states are very white. Maine is very white. There's a lot of, Vermont. But Vermont is like Bernie Sanders is fucking leading Vermont forever. Oh, not the taco, man. Not the taco. I don't think you can call Trump a taco after what he did with Iran, bro. Come on. I wish Trump would have tacoed and done a nuclear deal with Iran. Nah. Nick Fuentes fans are just closeted Democrat. No, they're further right than what the Republican Party is. Why did Vance disappear off the face of the earth? Where is Unk? Vance has really been hiding. I said Vance should do something. I don't know. I think Vance is probably not too happy about this. But what do you really do? He doesn't have any experience outside of being in the Senate for like a year and a half. I mean, what is Vance really going to do? He's not going against this. He's going to have to come out in support of it, and he knows it. Do you follow Ward Carroll? He covers military tech the best. So interesting. I never heard of him. People are starting to sour on Vance. I mean, I guess you kind of see it coming. It's just the VP is so it's such an irrelevant job. Unfortunately, it is. Um, and I guess Vance is kind of just he just doesn't have the experience. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win in California. What is it? What a mess that is. Holy hell. It better not be. There's no way they're voting for Katie Porter. How do you think Vivek would have handled this as president? Oh god. Oh man. You remember when he was out campaigning? I mean, he never had a chance. But people were saying, I mean, if Trump went to jail, maybe it would have been Vivek. But that was before everything that happens with him, and he's off of the internet now. He says he doesn't he's not using the internet. I should run in Ohio. No, a decent amount. Well, Casey Putsch is running. Casey Putsch has no chance though. Nah, dude, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, there's not even a point, honestly, to anyone else because Trump endorsed Vivek, and that was part of Vivek's deal to leave the administration. I'm sure they told Vivek, "Go away. You can run in Ohio. We'll endorse you." Okay, so now there's going to be all these people that endorse that vote for Vivek because Trump said so, basically, because Trump controls the party. So he's going to control the Republican primary, especially in Ohio, unless there was a crazy candidate that really destabilized it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still pretty foggy, honestly. I mean, I think Trump might have been spooked because of the markets and stuff. Um, it's just a big 180, so we'll see. I mean, ideally, he's thinking like it's going to be over so quickly, but again, you're kind of committed to it at this point. And the problem is, it's like, so to me, this is kind of a lose lose unless something happens. But you're committed to regime change, so you get the regime change, you win. But what is the cost of regime change? Or you say no, we can't do regime change; it costs too much. Then people say you lose. So it's like maybe you continue to strike them and they collapse from within, but that has to take months or at least a month, I think. Feel like March this year going to be the same as April. Well, April that was based on tariffs. I mean, that was different. Would Vance turn into Kamala and be unpopular if he came out against the strikes? But still, he has to support them. There's really no. He can't come out against them. It's not even in the cards. He just can't. Not as VP. He would lose too much support for coming doing that against Trump.
At Alexis tip $5 through Super Chat. Trump is losing control of his.
God damn it! She cut off. Trump is losing control of his party. You saw most of his endorsements lost in the past elections. He's too boomerish for the younger voters. Yeah, I don't know. Those special elections are meaningless, man. Those don't really matter. I mean, I understand, but it's also there's people going to be galvanized against Trump, and whoever wins, the opposing party is going to have a big advantage normally in those special elections, and Republicans don't do well in those special elections anyway. So I would kind of downplay those. I mean, from the polling that I've seen, I don't think he's really losing much, and there's a lot of online chatter, but I don't really see it represented in polls. I mean, if he was really losing significant Republican support, his approval rating would be like 30%. He's still holding like a 42% approval because basically every Republican still approves of him. So I don't really see him losing this crazy amount of control. I mean, maybe if he has an extended war, then there's going to be a lot of people that jump. Younger generation move to the far right. It's further right. I don't know if it's. I think it depends on the person, but hopefully she reads this one. Percent chance Republicans lose the Senate. I think it's maybe a 30% chance right now. I know betting would say more, but I'd say it's about a 30. I don't think they're going to lose the Senate honestly cuz they're going to juice some stuff up. They're going to make it nice. They're going to improve the economy.
At custard _mustard _ 5000 tip $9.99 through Super Chat. Why has nobody built an underground land pipeline to enable oil shipments without going through the Strait of Hormuz? Seems like a no-brainer for, say, Saudi Arabia.
Well, they do have alternative routes. They're using alternative routes in Saudi Arabia. I was reading about that. But I don't know in terms of the capacity whether or not it's possible to have a ton of capacity through those alternative ways versus the Strait. Plus, I mean, at this point, it's probably set up to where it's down to a T in terms of the amount of oil that gets shipped through the Strait. So they just don't, there's a lot of countries involved. I mean, I don't know. It is annoying how oil is, it's just all, this is why the Middle East is just dealing with this is so horrible. It's just.
At Lieutenant Trans tip $5 through Super Chat. You're relying on polls when they said Trump was -12 in Iowa in 2024. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji. Polls are BS. Trump is outdated, betrayed MAGA and needs to be kicked out.
No, polls are a reliable indicator. Just because one poll was wrong doesn't mean you disqualify polls. Just because a single poll was horribly wrong doesn't mean you disqualify polls from learning and understanding people's viewpoints on situations. Just because, I mean, it's a bunch of online stuff, but it doesn't really materialize in the real world from what I've seen. It's like a Republican says, I'm not MAGA anymore or something, it gets 10K likes. What does that really mean? There's a reason why the Senate is still more likely to go to Republicans on the markets. It's because of the strong individual races, which hasn't changed. It's because the states that the states that have Senate races are very favorable for Republicans. Yeah, it was really good weather today. It's very good weather. It's going to be in the 30s next week. Where's our mass deportations? Well, they deported around 4 million, so that's pretty good. Dude, I'm not going to do this again with people in mass deportations. Please go to another stream. I'm really not going to. Is snow over in Ohio? No, it's not over. No, it'll snow. It normally snows a few times towards the. It snows a few times in March and then a few times in early April. No, there's no snow on the ground, man. There can't be snow on the ground. It's fucking. It was 70 degrees 3 days ago. If there was still snow on the ground, that would be. I mean, maybe in a massive pile that they build up in parking lots. Maybe they still have snow. Yeah, because it's got to be $5 or over. Mad Frog, thank you. The panic and name calling is the same hysteria in the Bush years. The left isn't the only one that can purity spiral. Yeah, I mean, it's I do agree with you. I think you have to be able to criticize Trump. Anyone, it's like anyone that criticizes Trump gets called a panicking, and that's a bit ridiculous. I mean, dude, come on, it's a fucking Middle Eastern war. Obviously, people are gonna be pissed about it, and some Republicans say you should just support it no matter what. But it's also one of those things to where you have to see how it plays out, I guess. And 6 Flags sold your home park. Damn you, Cedar Point. What does Cedar Point own several parks? Biggest gripe with the further right movement is Trump is not doing enough on mass deportations. And dude, it's such like a low IQ argument too. Like it's like, okay, so do we have to explain all the minute details? They fucking got the largest deportation budget in the history. Like no country's had a deportation budget like this, I swear. And the thing is they're trying to do it, but they have to do it by a certain way. And there's other problem is domestically there's so many ways that liberals they own the institutions. That's another thing to where I think you've already lost if you're the right in some cases, because if they own the institutions, how do you really compete with that? And they have all the judges. Are Muslims as bad as Randy and other GOP reps say. Well, I mean, in terms of just, the country is Christian, right? The United States is Christian. So that's how it was founded. That's what it is. It's just a Christian country. So, I mean, there's a lot of Muslim countries. This is a Christian country. That's just the reality of it. The Save America Act before the midterms. I don't know where that is. It's in the Senate, I think. Um, yeah, I think they'll pass it. They need to pass it, but I don't even know if it's going to go into effect because if they pass it, I mean, does that immediately put the voting laws into effect for the midterms? Hopefully, it does. What about whatever happened to the VRA ruling? So that's not going to be in time. That's insane if that's not in time. They do the ruling on the tariffs, but they can't do the VRA. They really need the VRA if they want a chance in the House. I mean, seriously, that might give them a rejuvenated chance. They can redraw a bunch of the lines in the South if they overturn the VRA. Oil prices are shockingly down. Yeah, 88. We were at 56. Come on, bro.
At various countries. And when you look at over 1,000 missiles shot at like UAE, they were looking to take over the Middle East. We got there first. We're lucky. I'll tell you what, the Middle East and those countries, very rich countries, are very lucky that I was president instead of somebody else.
Bro, this is delusional, man. Come on. Iran was going to take over the Middle East?
Please go ahead.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, you just suggested that.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran with
Well,
another
I don't
Ayatollah?
want to say that, but I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Dude, what was this answer? I got to go back to this one. I'll wait for the super chat. I'll wait for the super chat to be read.
At Garen Gaines dipped $20 through Super Chat. The First Amendment has establishment clause, which prohibits the government from favoring a religion, and free exercise clause, which protects individuals' rights to practice their faith without government interference.
You need to go watch my video on Is America a Christian Country? That's my response to that. But in short term, the founding fathers, the ones that made the First Amendment, they basically restricted anyone that's not Christian from being a citizen. So you're referencing the founding fathers and saying that, oh, they insisted that all these different religions should be allowed. They basically barred anyone that wasn't white from being a citizen, so that's only Christians. So you need to go back and actually understand historical context on what you're citing and the people putting it into place. Because like the First Amendment, okay, who made the First Amendment? And what did they believe in terms of citizenship and who's a citizen in the United States? Because you're the one that wants to cite them. So if we're going to cite them, we have to do it proper in terms of the context. But I don't know what this answer was. This is just like I mean, I don't know what Trump was talking about there.
And this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. You know, Iran was a very powerful military country, and this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. You know,
Putin was
Iran
impressed.
was a very powerful military country. A new country, but they have no navy, they have no air force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you know, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it.
Oh my God,
we could
dude!
go
Just
further,
go watch my video.
and we're going to go further.
You're making the same argument.
But,
I'm not gonna get angry.
The big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big navy, very powerful navy. You know, these were ships. These were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off their ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufactured the drones are under fire as we speak.
At Garen Gaines dipped $5 through Super Chat. Thomas Jefferson famously coined the phrase wall of separation between church and state. Maybe do some research, you idiot.
You understand that Thomas Jefferson was referencing the denominations of Christianity, not Muslims versus Christians, and they need to both coexist in the United States. It was different denominations of Christianity. They said they would feud with each other, so it doesn't make sense. Everyone should be able to practice freely. There were issues in Britain, and that was part of the reason why they did it. Go watch the video. It's the same argument. Trump talking to Putin reminds me of Obama's red line. He boxed himself into a corner, and Putin bailed him out so he didn't have to invade Syria. Yeah. That is strange that he's now talking to Putin, but
Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Marco Rubio.
yeah, they're going to be doing something in Cuba pretty soon.
Called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you
but
talking over soon? Are you thinking this week it will be over? Are
no,
you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
called it an
Look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he
Why is this lagging so bad? I don't think I. Yeah, I don't know why it's
wants to be
lagging.
very
The
constructive.
thing is I shouldn't lose any frames.
So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. So the Strait of perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they...
Yeah, I mean, but they're forced to ask those questions. A lot of the times, Trump is just not going to give much of an answer to a lot of this stuff. You know. All right, I appreciate the donation. I appreciate the donation.
A president in or the head of the country in that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved, and all of the people that died through the roadside bombs, died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms.
A Gigakadovnks tip $5 through Super Chat. There was
I thought it was the other dude. No, it's actually there was separation between church and government in the Middle Ages. It doesn't mean the nations weren't Christian. Just know the church or in government. You know what I was thinking? It's actually very similar to, what is it, the 14th Amendment with the birthright citizenship and how that's been abused with more immigration. It's like now it's actually a loophole. It's a loophole in terms of what they're doing. Think about this for a second. You know, now we get all the different immigration, so we're getting different religions, and so they're manipulating it. They're saying, well, technically, the country doesn't have a real religion. Just like with birthright citizenship, how they manipulate that. So it's interesting how when you get more immigration, these things within our Constitution have been exploited. And you'd think they would be patched up, but they're not getting patched up. Are you voting for Putsch or Vivek? It does. I'll vote for Putsch over Vivek. It's honestly a wasted vote. I mean, but the guy is just not running a realistic campaign that has any chance of winning at all. Putsch. I mean, Fishback is running a better campaign than him, honestly, but I think Fishback has no chance either. But yeah, it's just not good, man. Ugh. Yeah, I thought it was water. There's something in it. I don't know what it was. It was like a flavored thing that had a really faint taste, and it didn't taste good at all. I thought it was just pure water. I remember when I was in vacation in Hilton Head when I was younger, and I was just so thirsty. I don't know why, but I woke up at 3 a.m. You know, this happens like once a year to people. It happens to me like once a year where you wake up at like 3 a.m. just dying of thirst. And I went to the refrigerator, and it was like flavored water. It was the worst thing I ever had in my life. I don't know what it was. I just wanted regular water, but it was like grape flavored water. I actually don't think it's that bad now, but I don't even remember what it was. I think it was just flavored water. Propel. But I liked Propel. I never had Propel on forever, but I don't know what it was. Fishback 11% according to Polymarket. Yeah, 11%. That's pretty likely where he's probably going to be at in terms of the vote count. I don't even know if he's going to be 11. You know, those markets can be manipulated if they've got low volume. So I don't know what that market has, the Republican primary Florida market. I think it was actually vitamin water. I think it was vitamin water. Yeah, some of the waters are good if they're I don't know why I hated it so much. I think I just wanted regular water. But I was really thirsty a few weeks ago. I woke up at like 5 a.m. and had to drink something. I just drank, honestly, a Coke Zero, just, and then I fell back to sleep somehow. No, the Epstein stuff is not over with. You know how these cycles work. I mean, this is obviously a huge event, so maybe this will drag on. But the news cycle will just bake it in. I mean, at a certain point, if it keeps going on and it's kind of a stalemate, people will go back to Epstein 100%. Well, that's the whole Massey grift. I mean, he's going to bring it back up, and it's going to be this story, and he's going to get back in the news. And, the Epstein stuff is a mess. The Iran war is a mess. We have messes piling up. Do you think DeSantis will endorse Fishback? No, I don't know. I think DeSantis probably won't endorse anyone because he doesn't really like Donald's, but I don't think he would endorse Fishback at all. He's not going to endorse anyone in the primary stage for him because again, I don't really think he likes Donald's. Trump has endorsed Donald's, and that's who the administration wants. Apparently, Iran new leader injured from Israeli bombs. Yeah, I mean, if you get, it's a death sentence to be named the new leader of Iran. I mean, yeah, the Epstein stuff is just gonna fall. I mean, the only way to make the Epstein stuff go away is there's a bigger topic. Basically, that's the only way at this point. But if there's more hearings and more people are brought in for depositions, it's just gonna keep being in the news. There's files they haven't allowed to the public, and non-carbonated Coke. Who the hell would drink that? Yeah, you'd be. I've actually had the Coke Zero no caffeine. It's really bad. I don't know why. I mean, because what does caffeine even taste like? But if you actually try the no caffeine version of Coke Zero, it's very bad. It just does not taste good. Like it still has like a pop flavor, but it tastes really bad. I don't know why. It's just so bad. I feel like the peace summits and stuff, do those really do anything? I mean, remember Trump and Putin met and they had a peace summit and it didn't accomplish a single thing, basically. When did Trump and Putin do that? Like last year in the summer, I think. No Diet Coke in Europe. Yeah, well, Diet Coke and Coke Zero are two different things here. They actually taste entirely different. And then normal Coca Cola. I had a normal Coca Cola is just horrific, man. Honestly, it doesn't even taste good. It just tastes like sugar. It's like you probably shouldn't be drinking this. I mean, this is like Diet Mountain Dew. I never had Diet Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is a bunch of caffeine. I don't know how many milligrams, but it's got a bunch of caffeine compared to all the other ones. Diet Mountain Dew might be the worst one for you. Yeah, I think Elon Musk likes Diet Coke as well over Coke Zero. Yeah, Coke in a glass bottle is really good, 100%. When I was younger, I used to drink that at a gas station. I would get it when I was still drinking that type of stuff. The problem with these clips is they're so I can barely hear them, which I don't know why.
Major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. I really am. Remember the great movie, Jimmy Stewart?
It's just the volume is so low on these clips.
We should also...
Is it Islamophobic to wonder or suggest that Islam is not as welcoming to other religions as religions are to them? It's just, I just wonder, because I never hear this equation in reverse. I'm glad that the cops might have saved the mayor's wife's life. It's going to make it hard for her to like the ice.
Done. No, I don't want to brag, but you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do.
Trump's going with the white hair for the founding fathers look.
They say it all the time. Sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
He's really got to go with the white hair at this point. It makes sense. It's like navy white hair. It's like chrome white hair. Chrome white.
$100 down to $20. Think of that. From 130. That's what you're going to get. From 130 to 20. But he has to double his price from $10, and they were the boss. I said, no, you will. No, do not. I cannot do that. And I heard this from all the other countries, too. Very elegant people. And they were saying, no, we cannot do that.
Platinum.
We will not do that.
Florida's a decent pick. But, I mean, they'd be going back-to-back. It's unlikely. I mean, I guess UConn did it a few years ago, but Florida won last year, too.
I said, yes, you will, 100%. No, we will not. Because, you know, they have to double up their prices. And I said, well, here's the story. If you don't do it, I'm going to put in the...
Bro, we need different clips here, man. How many clips are we going to see from this, bro? Bro. Oh, now we need Mike Johnson to enter the mix.
Who are these groups? Who's funding them? Let's dive in. Let's investigate. Let's start with this one. One of the lead organizers in almost all of these protests, and you can see their logo at the bottom of those posters, is the Answer Coalition. Their mission, act now to stop war and end racism. Now, the Answer Coalition was founded 3 days after 9/11. In 2024, the House committee accused the organization of having well-documented connections to Hamas in Iran. And how have they mobilized into action? Well, they protested the killing of Soleimani in Iran. They protested in support of Palestine in 2023.
Trump talked for an hour. Bro, that was like 25, honestly, maybe 30 clips. So they got, I mean, that's a lot of clips.
And they protested the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Here's another. One of those little symbols and one of those groups at the bottom of that poster, the background of almost all of these protests. That's the National Iranian American Council mission. It's dedicating to giving a voice to the Iranian American community in civic life. It was founded in 2002. And in 2020, it was accused of being an unregistered foreign agent with ties to the Iranian regime. They have consistently protested in support of Iran. Now, with that, those two groups comes one of the biggest groups, always there when it comes to these protests, the People's Forum, to build unity.
Yeah, my room has a light. It doesn't. If I turn it, it's gonna look horrible if I turn it on. It does have a light, but it's not. It would look really bad for the camera.
Unity across lines of division at home and abroad. Founded in 2017, focused on, and this is key because I want you to think about this as in the background of all these protests, anti-imperialism and anti-capitalism. They have organized in support of Palestinians. They have organized to protest Columbia students who were expelled from that university and put into the immigration process. And of course, they protested as well against the capture of Nicolas Maduro. One more, let's take a look at Code Pink. Of course, you know Code Pink. They show up, feminist grassroots, craziness in the hallways of Congress. They were co-founded by Jody Evans and Neville Roy Singham. Remember that name for just a moment. Hold it, Neville Roy Singham. We're going to talk about him more in just a few minutes. Now, they have helped coordinate the National Day of Action after the killing of Soleimani, and they also supported and marched in support of Palestine. Now, here it is. Who is Neville Roy Singham?
London has fallen. Olympus has fallen. I think I've seen clips from London has fallen with The Rock or Channing Tatum or something.
There's been a little bit of positive movement in the markets after the president told CBS that the war is pretty much complete. What's the latest?
Yeah, oil prices hitting their lowest level of the day after crashing through that $100 a barrel benchmark overnight, even reaching up to $115, $120 a barrel. Those are numbers that we haven't seen for nearly 4 years since the war between Russia and Ukraine broke out. But even though these levels have come down to about $85, $90 a barrel, still 30% higher than they were just a month ago. Markets obviously move very quickly, but what isn't moving so quickly for Americans, at least today, is that price of gas. People are showing up at the pump and realizing that gas is costing about 50.
Yeah, I got to get my hair cut because the sides are too long. I just realized. Now I have to get my hair cut once a month.
Cents more on average than it did just a week ago, and 40 cents more than it did a year ago when President Trump was newly in office. Of course, oil prices can change. They could go back up again, especially because so much of the world's oil, 20%, is really locked at a standstill at that Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the oil moves through, as oil tankers are simply stuck there, unable to move oil. The U.S. does have a good supply of oil. However, oil trades on a global market, and that's why you're seeing nerves. That's why you're seeing oil prices rise, and that's why you're seeing gas prices rise. According to Gas Buddy, we could see another 10 to 20 cent rise, and we could and will likely reach $4 a gallon here in the United States. But investors on Wall Street were also encouraged by that conversation that President Trump had with CBS News. Markets really made a turnaround. The Dow closing up 239 points. Look at that, most of the day in the red, finishing in the green. Also the NASDAQ and S&P closing in the green. This is really investors reacting to news, being headline sensitive, as they've been saying for the past couple weeks or so, but really overall a tepid response.
I mean, the markets really didn't even do anything. When the markets barely even went down for this war. It's strange. I mean, yeah, the oil spiked like crazy. The oil spiked like crazy. I don't think the markets really went down all that much at all. There's like a limited reaction. So I don't really see any crazy movement. Who do you think wins March Madness? Probably Arizona, honestly. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with the conference tournaments. But I know everyone's going to be picking Duke or Michigan, and I don't know. It's kind of wide open, honestly. I think maybe people are overrating the 1 seeds. Domestic markets, take a look at Asia markets. Well, I don't know about Asia. They may be getting pummeled, but Tyler Linderbaugh. Oh, people want Rubio over Vance. Come on. What's on Polymarket? Iranian regime fall by June 30th down to 25%. U.S. forces enter Iran. Damn. Yeah, it's 29% basically. U.S. Iran ceasefire. I don't know. Maybe by the end of March, maybe by the end of April. So they closed the strait or what? I mean, that's the thing, is nobody really knows if it's actually officially closed, or they can't. I don't think they have the capacity to fully close it, but it's a weird situation. You saw a poll where Vivek had more support to drop out of the Senate race at this point. Yeah, he's gonna be the nominee. I mean, I don't see him losing. What is it? It's the 99%. Oh yeah, guys, here, make some money. Here, go make some money. Wait. The strait is not closed. The insurance company stopped insuring tankers. I know, so it's like disputed, but I also think if they try and traverse it, they might be hit by rebel forces or mines or something anyways. So it's like technically not closed, but because of the insurance and because of the rebel forces or some shit. Yeah, this is just all heavy speculation. Man, imagine the US. They got to have that on here. Where is that World Baseball Classic? 84% chance. Bitcoin hovering around 70K. Are you going to stream later with the time change? I don't really see a reason to readjust, what time I stream at. Normally it's 7:30. That's kind of my time now, I guess, is 7:30. Sometimes it's later, sometimes really it's never earlier than 7:30 anymore. Sometimes I would go earlier than 7:30 but not the 6-7. Did Qatar and other Gulf nations say that the U.S. cannot use their airspace for military offensive operations? What do you think? They're probably trying to not be struck by Iran anymore, if that's what they said. 2028 candidate predictions. It's actually pretty hard now. I mean, I guess still Vance, I guess. Vance versus Newsom. unless somebody else emerges within the Democratic Party. But I know Rubio is making a run. There's going to be a few Democrats that make runs. There's going to be some younger Democrats that people kind of look at, but I highly doubt it. Only time I see you stream outside your regular time is when big things happen, like Charlie Kirk now Iran. Yeah, no, that is true. Because there's just, what's the point of streaming at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday? Like, I feel like there's no point in doing that. That's just kind of not how it's segmented, you know? Like, the streams, I feel like, are supposed to be for the nighttime. That's just kind of what I've always felt about streaming. I mean, unless there's a big something that happens. Yeah, let me go to crypto. That'll help the viewers. That'll help the viewers count. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of all the stuff that I expected. It's just all speculation. Honestly, there's like hard to really take anything out of any of these markets, like just because it's all speculation. Trump is talking about Iran not being able to stop the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, well, Iranian ballistic missiles launch estimate. Yeah, they're not launching really. Well, they still have some left, but
So we're going to go further and decisively defeating the enemy, whatever it takes. But 3 hours ago, he told CBS News, quote, "I think the war is very complete, pretty much." Well, that statement posted by CBS correspondent Weijia Yang was at 3:16 p.m. Well, President Donald Trump knows the timing of that very well. At 3:17 p.m., the Dow Jones Industrial Average shot up, major recovery. Oil went down. Until then, of course, there had been fear, and frankly, overnight in the oil market, panic. Oil had gone well above $100 a barrel. It was absolutely incredible what we witnessed. It was at the height.
You think I would do well on Kick? I doubt it, honestly. I mean, I think with stuff like that, man, like the only way I would be able to go to another platform is if I had like, you need like a really large base, you know, you need like a really large, I need like, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 viewers, I feel like, to go to another platform and be successful. I mean, the thing with stuff like Kick is, honestly, even with YouTube, but especially Kick, because at least YouTube, I have all the videos here, so the streams and the videos, it's easier. But it's like, I don't think there's really any unique push. You don't get really pushed out, you know, in any unique way on Kick. It's kind of like people that already have their audience, they just migrate them to Kick because Kick allows you to say more shit, basically.
Highest in 4 years. There was worry and fear and panic, as I said, about a global economic catastrophe. But it is clear tonight, long after the markets have formally closed, that Trump, at least for now, does not have an intention of ramping the war down. In fact, CNN is learning this hour that the Trump administration is considering a highly complex and risky operation to retrieve Iran's known highly enriched uranium. Now, that would be a massive mission that would require boots on the ground. It would require significant forces, special forces, and it would put a significant number of American ground troops in harm's way. Robert Kelly is a former chief nuclear inspector for the IAEA. He told Outfront that the United States, in his view, probably doesn't even really have a clue where that uranium is. He said, quote, "It can be split up into so many batches, so it's probably not all in one place. Seems like a script for a suicide mission with little chance of success."
Yeah, why would they keep all their uranium in one place? It makes no sense. You're gonna risk a bunch of troops to save, to snatch maybe 50% of their uranium. I don't know. Can't you multi-stream? Yeah, but the thing, this is what I don't understand with multi-streaming. Wouldn't that just dilute my viewership on YouTube? So I'd have like 100 less viewers on YouTube, and now they're watching me on Kick. I'm not gaining any more viewers. It's just diluting the YouTube viewership. I mean, think about that. Isn't that's just what multi-streaming is? I don't really see the point of multi-streaming. I don't see how it's like, it just dilutes the stream. Alex Jones is reporting boots on the ground right now. America is using special forces. Well, that would be a big revelation. Israel knows where the uranium is located. Well, the problem is there's many spots where it is, even if they know where the spots are. You know, that would be a huge operation. You'll gain a whole new platform. No, but that's not really how it works. You know, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think you really gain unique viewers through live streams. Unless you're doing like crazy shit and you get clipped and stuff, like that's really the only way. Multi-stream with TikTok. I know, dude. That to me, that just seems like, dude. The problem with TikTok is any of those guys, they really can't say any swear words. Like TikTok is horrible. You know, I've tried doing it, and I know people, they've tried making me clips channels for my TikTok. They basically just ban them. Like if you talk about World War II, they'll ban your account. Their moderating system, it's just like pure just Chinese just slop. Like, you can't swear on TikTok. I don't know what it is. I don't even know how people survive on TikTok. I know it's like a huge reach. You can get so many new people. Like, it's crazy because it's short form, but it's just like, I don't know. There's so many rules. People have to say unalive instead of kill. You know, they say that on X too. People will try and blur out the word kill or kind of like moderate it so they don't lose their ad revenue. No, I never played a Resident Evil. TikTok pays the least. Yeah, but the point of TikTok, they're just trying to get sponsorships out of that. There's no way you're going to make any actual ad revenue off of TikTok. But they're trying to basically get an audience, and then the audience migrates to YouTube, or the audience migrates to somewhere else, or they just get sponsorships because of the amount of people watching them. TikTok will never pay enough unless they have like a sponsorship with TikTok. Because short form content makes no money. It's not even for money, it's for to gain more popularity. Yeah, I don't think Logan Paul is fighting anyone. He said he bitched out of it. He said, well, the WWE is not going to allow it. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, Logan Paul's the one that challenged NFL fighters, and then he says, oh, I can't do it. Really? I mean, come on, man. It's just like, and then you see Logan Paul with his little interview, his who are those guys again? Graham Stephan? Remember that? Iced Coffee Hour. Yeah, he did an interview with him. And he's like, I'm not a scammer. He's trying to plead his case. I don't know why he's involved with some of those projects. You'll clip on TikTok. There's really not necessary. It's just I don't think my content would translate very well, but the stuff that would be able to be clipped on TikTok is mainly little segments from my iceberg videos, but those can't be clipped on TikTok because the account would get banned. Your opinion on the Iranian people having it in them to take over the government? I don't think they do. There's just too much. It's very muddled in terms of the amount of support that their regime. The regime still has a lot of support, so I don't think it's likely. I think Logan Paul is from Lakewood, I believe. Lakewood, Ohio. which is not really near me, but I've heard of the city. Your overall opinion on how well Trump is doing in his presidency? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because this is a huge event that's happening with this war, so you can't really grade this war, so you just have to say incomplete at this point with Trump. Yeah, I would say incomplete. I mean, there's so much stuff already that you could talk about on pros and cons with the administration, but you say, well, the war is a negative, and we'll see what happens with it. I mean, the Epstein stuff is a massive negative, but does it really matter? I mean, there's so many people on Rumble who give 10x more in super chats than on YouTube. You're literally leaving money on the table. Bro, Rumble, the thing is with Rumble, it's like I actually had a partnership with Rumble. I have a Rumble account. When was the last time I uploaded on Rumble? Maybe 10 months ago or something. I don't remember exactly. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I made like $500 off of Rumble once in ad revenue, and I was just like, I don't know. It's weird how Rumble works because not all the views count in terms of ad revenue. It's like half of them count. It's like real. There's like viewers and then real viewers. So I don't know. Bro, there's so much of this chat is watching that World Baseball Classic. What cryptos you stocking up currently? Actually, I'm waiting and hopefully until it drops further. I mean, I know everyone says that, but I mean, Solana would be a good buy. BitTensor would be an interesting buy, the AI coin. Bitcoin if you want to be safer, but you're not going to get a huge return. Yeah, I'm sure Rumble is botted to hell. That's kind of how any of the alternatives are. They're going to have huge problems with that. The problem is like the other thing is it shows like sometimes it says you got like 100K views on a video and there's 20 comments. I mean, that's not real. How does that even work? That doesn't make any sense. Not even DCA, right? Yeah, I mean DCAing is a good idea if you want to fundamentally play it safe. DCAing right now is, but I mean I just think it's expected to go lower because of the way the cycles work. This is the bottom. Yeah, I mean it's just not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a bit different this cycle, but it can always go lower. And really, we haven't even seen. I don't think. I mean, Bitcoin. Its retracement has not been anywhere close to what it should be if it's actually at the bottom. I mean, the fear and greed to me is kind of irrelevant because technically we could be at 55K, stay at 55K, the fear and greed go up, but is it? I don't really like the metric. Undo, I've heard of that. Yeah. I mean, who knows, man? Those high caps kind of sucked the past cycle, but we didn't really have an alt season. Well, it's a lot easier to be a doomer because think about the access we have to the internet, the amount of information we have. People are getting so much information now, so they're reacting to every little thing, and there's going to be a lot more panic because of that. Hmm.
I want to ask about what the Wall Street Journal is reporting about your colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham. The Journal is saying that Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks to help make the case on Iran, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency, spoke with Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby President Trump for action. Graham said that Netanyahu showed the president intel that persuaded President Trump to go ahead. Senator, I know you all talk to foreign leaders, and that happens routinely. But speaking to a foreign leader on the precipice of war and seeming to be lobbying or being an intermediary, which this seems to indicate, is that the right way to go?
Well, listen, Lindsey is passionate about defending America, and he is on the road a lot. He's talking to world leaders all over the world. There are times when I agree with Lindsey. There are times when I don't. But when it comes to
what
the
about
threat,
this? Well, what about this? I mean, this is something of a totally different level, is it not?
No, actually, when it comes to the threat Iran poses, Lindsey agrees they pose a major threat to America, and I agree they pose a major threat to America. Look, Lindsey and I disagreed on the Iraq War. He thought the Iraq War was a good idea. I thought the Iraq War was a mistake. I think Iran is fundamentally different because Saddam Hussein was not murdering Americans on the scale and level that Iran has been doing. Saddam Hussein was not funding Hamas and Hezbollah killing Americans. And President Trump acted boldly to take out a regime that had been killing Americans over and over.
But we're not disagreeing on that.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Our point is working with Netanyahu so closely to lobby President Trump, acting as an intermediary for a foreign country. Is that appropriate? That was my simple question. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but that's slightly unusual, is it not? I agree with you on the other points.
I don't think it's a fair characterization that Lindsey is an intermediary for Israel. And a lot of the critics say, oh, the war is all about Israel. Understand, it's not about Israel. It is about America. The reason President Trump acted is to defend America. There's a reason the Ayatollah referred to Israel as the little Satan, and America is the great Satan. I believe if the Ayatollah got a nuclear weapon, he would use it. Laura, if the Ayatollah could kill you and me right now, he would. And that's why President Trump acted. And so I get frustrated with all the people who say, oh, this is all for Israel. No, it's not. This is for America. This is Donald Trump being the commander-in-chief of the United States of America and protecting us. And you started your monologue by saying this was not going to be a protracted land battle with troops there for a long time. You're absolutely right. That is not going to happen. But the president is acting decisively to take out real threats to the lives and safety of Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he basically didn't answer the question at all. Apparently, Lindsey Graham met with Netanyahu and coached him on how to lobby Trump to go to war for Israel. Ugh.
Disagreement between yourself and your vice president when it comes to U.S. action in Iran?
I don't think so, no. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing. In the back, please, in the back.
So it seems like Rubio, didn't really want to. Or Vance didn't really want to go. Which we kind of all expected. That's why he hasn't said anything.
We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe three times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe three times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe three times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put...
Oh, you're right. It is looping. I didn't realize it. I mean,
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you know, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But, yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President.
I don't want to brag, but, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. I don't want to brag, but, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. I don't want to brag, but...
Names of 3 people in your head right now that you'd vote for president.
You won't like it. You won't like it.
I don't care.
I'd vote for Westmore,
You told me
governor
that.
of Maryland. I'd vote for Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. I'd vote for Marco Rubio.
Okay. Talk about, what is it about Marco?
He's an adult in the room. There is no questioning his qualifications for
If
the
it's
job.
Marco and anyone other than Wes and Josh, you vote for Marco over the Democrat?
Yes.
Over Newsom?
Yes.
Over Kamala?
Yes. I'd vote for Marco Rubio over anybody that's out there right now other than Westmore or Josh Shapiro.
Names of 3 people in your head right now.
I showed you a clip. I think that clip is probably true, dude. I'm sorry.
I might
It's
add,
probably
we're also
true.
waiving certain oil-related
That's the sad part.
sanctions to reduce
The Lindsey
prices.
Graham thing.
So we have sanctions on some countries. We're going to take those sanctions off till this straightens out. then who knows?
Right.
maybe we won't have to
It's
put
like
them
that.
on. There'll be
That's the
so much
ultimate
peace.
neocon grift.
But when the time comes, the U.S.
Like,
Navy and its
voting
partners
for
will escort
Rubio.
tankers
Look,
through
I don't
the
know if it'll
strait
be
if
Rubio,
needed.
but
I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through, I might add. We're also waiving
Meantime, an alarming report of threats outside Iran. ABC News reports Iran may be activating sleeper cells. Quote, the U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. If true, further illustrating Secretary of State Marco Rubio's point, we are fighting a terrorist government.
The United States is currently engaged in an operation targeting the world's leading hostage taker, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They are trying to hold the world hostage. They are attacking their neighbors. They are attacking neighboring countries, their energy infrastructure, their civilian population. They're attacking embassies. This is a terrorist government. This is a terroristic regime. And we are seeing them conduct terrorism using nation-state elements, using weapons like missiles and one-way attack drones. And the objective of this mission is to destroy their ability to continue to do that.
But
Iran's drone and missile capability is being utterly demolished. The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, that's a... They like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. But think of it. We knocked out 46. It actually took 3.5 days. Their terrorist leaders are gone. We're counting down the minutes until they will be gone. Think of it. We had leaders, and they're gone. Then we had new leaders, and they're gone. And now nobody has any idea who the people are that are going to be the head of the country.
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think Trump was a bit different in 2016 because Trump was attacking the Republican Party. Now he is the Republican Party. So it's an entirely different thing. But guys, that is going to do it for this live stream. I appreciate everyone for watching. We'll see how this continues to develop, whether or not they're serious about toning this down or not. Make sure you like the video, like the live stream. If the war ends now, nothing long term will have been achieved. Depends how weakened Iran was. Yeah, you're right. Long term, I mean, that's why I don't think it's going to end, but. All right, guys. I will see you